The screen you're viewing is a simple example of a typical day and week in the life of a single working parent with 2 kids. Keep in mind that this schedule is not meant to be specific to any one person, although many of you may be able to relate to some of the events on the calendar. The day starts at 6 a.m. and ends all the way down here at 11:30 p.m. So from sunrise to sunset, there's nothing but work to do. So our example schedule tries to account for enough time to hit snooze once or twice, get up and get showered and dressed, complete with makeup, hairstyling, and getting the kids up and dressed and fed too. It also accounts for work time on the job. That's what the time to make the donuts. I don't know if you remember that commercial. But time to make the donuts means we get up and we go into work to make the donuts. It accounts for lunchtime, and then we go back to work to finish the rest of our work day. Then it accounts for lunchtime, morning, and evening rush hours as well. So here's the evening commute. I'm not sure how traffic is where you are, but I'm in Atlanta, so you have to account for at least half an hour, and that's on sunny days. So hopefully there's no rain and definitely no snow that changes that time at all. But we tried to account for picking up the kids at school and everything that we typically do throughout our work week. But after 5 p.m., we see that things change. Our color scheme is changing because every day there's something different that we have to account for, whether it's our kids' activities or personal activities. We have other things that we do from each day with various things, and there's various activities. This was just a general one for kid practices, but we also know we may have meetings to attend, whether it's board meetings at school, PTA meetings, other kinds of things. If you have a club that you're a member of, accounting for those meetings as well. So again, this is just a simplistic kind of schedule. It's pretty controlled, I'll give you that as well, and real life definitely varies, but it does give us a good idea of the many commitments that most of us contend with on a daily and weekly schedule. And looking at it and thinking about this person who may be contemplating the idea of going back to school, you might look at her as her advisor and be like, I'm not sure if school's the right time, if this is the right time for you, because you seem pretty overextended in your scheduling. But with a little creative thinking and a bit more personal sacrifice, like waking up earlier or going to bed later, taking your lunch with you to work and eating in the car, skipping out on clubs and parties a few weekends, things like that, etc., we could still find several hours a week that we could squeeze into this already busy schedule to be able to go to school. Alakazam. I've added some time to the schedule to show how we can squeeze in a little time every day to meet the needs and demands of going to school, especially with this tight schedule. So here we're sacrificing by getting up at 5:30 instead of 6 a.m. and taking a few minutes to just maybe read, to go online. But this little half an hour here every day, 2 or 3 times a day during the week, if you're able to squeeze it in, it'll help us not only because we get that quiet time where we're all alone and we can focus on our schooling, but you're getting in a few extra moments to read and study and think about the lessons that we have to learn. And then also we talked about taking our lunch to work, maybe 2 or 3 times a week. I've listed here every day, but it doesn't have to be every day. But if you took 15 or 20 minutes out of a 30-minute or even an hour lunch break to sit in your car and read while you eat your lunch, there's some opportune time there to get some studying in as well. Another thing we can do during this time is reflect on the assignments that we have for the week. Every week, students are encouraged sorry about that. Students are encouraged to review their roadmaps and print them out to see what the weekly coursework is going to require of them, and they can kind of map that out and put this into their schedule. So if you have a few moments in the morning, a few moments in the afternoon at your lunchtime, and then a few hours in the evening during the week, not every day, but here I've shown an example of putting in some study time while you're at one of your kids' practice. Maybe one kid has tennis lessons, and so you're reviewing homework with your second child, and you can also do a little studying at that time too. Maybe you know what you want to say for the discussion. You're not near a computer, so you keep a tablet with you and you write it down. Or if you do have a computer, I would strongly suggest having a flash drive or a thumb drive, some people call it, but keeping a drive in the computer so that you can start writing down ideas and saving them. And then when you get home and you have some time, some downtime where you can sit and think quietly, perhaps in these early morning hours that we looked at up here at 5:30, you can actually type that information into your computer and save the file and submit it on the LMS. So these are great moments, not only because you are getting to study, but your children are watching you study. So they see the seriousness of it. They see the actual commitment that you're making. Where there's a will, there's a way. So if I want to do something, I'm going to find some time to squeeze it in and get it done. And that's the best way to show our kids how to be committed and dedicated to the things that they're doing. Again, I've stuck some time in down here as well. I don't know if you can see it as good as I would like for you to, but there's also some time down here at the bottom that maybe a few nights a week, if you're not an early morning riser, or if you're able to still get up with a little less than 8 hours of sleep for a few days, to try to squeeze in some time. I don't know if you can see the red tips at the end of the screen, but from 11:30 to 12, if your day normally ends at 11:30, maybe give yourself a half an hour longer to stay up once the kids are again asleep and you have that downtime to squeeze in some study time. You could do it every night. You can do it 2 or 3 nights a week. Maybe you stay up later, and then the other 2 or 3 nights a week you get up earlier. But you can also stick time in when you're sitting and watching TV with the kids. You can squeeze in some study time when you're doing your next day preparations. We know what that is: packing lunches for the kids, ironing everyone's clothes, taking out dinner to thaw for tomorrow, or maybe you started in a crock pot. If you have some good recipes, I need some. But this is what laundry and next day prep is: packing bags because tomorrow little Billy has tennis practice, and then on Wednesday I need to pack a bag, or Tuesday night I need to pack a bag because Becky has ballet lessons. So that constant preparation that we do at the end of the day to give ourselves a jump start for the next day. You can spend a few minutes, a couple of days a week to do some of those study time, just some impromptu quick studying, whether it's reading, whether it's jotting down notes, whether it's emailing the instructor to get some clarification on what your assignments are. There are plenty of opportunities to squeeze in just 5, 10, 30 minutes a day so that you're able to get several hours in during the week. Particularly with all of us, since we're working in an online environment and we have families, a lot of times we have to get our work done on the weekends. That's understandable. I didn't put it on here, but I did leave early morning hours for those that attend church. I left most of the weekend on Saturdays for family time. Maybe you get up and little Billy has a tennis match, or Becky has a ballet recital, or there's a school function that you have to go to, or maybe you have a company picnic, So we did leave some time to still enjoy the weekend and not have to dedicate the whole weekend to school, but you can still squeeze in a couple of hours here and there. Maybe you do games and recitals early in the morning. You come home, give the kids a nap, get them lunch, and then you take some study time. Read a chapter, finish up an assignment, or start your assignments. Then you have more family time. Maybe we're going to the movies. Maybe we're gonna go bowling, laser tag, or whatever your family likes to do. But you got plenty of time here from 4 to 9 for family time. If they're young kids, you try to keep them in bed by a specific time. So I did kind of cut it off. But there is a way to squeeze in some study time and still enjoy your weekend. I also put more study time here during clubbing hours. I don't know if we're still going to the club. She's probably tired from working all week and trying to make sure that everything's done. And she likes to go to bed early on Saturday. But there's a way to stick some study time in on Saturdays and then again on Sundays. Maybe you find that the best way for you to get all of your work done is on Sundays. That's fine. I wouldn't suggest or I wouldn't recommend waiting and making Sunday the only day that you study. It's hard to cram in a week's worth of work and reading in one day. I know a lot of people will try to do that, but I would strongly suggest breaking it up into smaller intervals during the week so that not only can you reflect on it, but you can ask questions if you need to, send an email, you can attend live labs or work with our the academic coaches that we have. You could work with them to maybe help get clarification if you feel like you need more time. I definitely am available for that kind of commentary or conference, but if you have later evenings or you're not available at the time that the live labs and lectures are offered with me, then there's always the opportunity to work with our academic coaches and get some instruction from them as well or some assistance. So there's all kinds of resources. This is just a suggestion that I wanted to share with you about how we can squeeze in just a little bit of time every day to try to meet the demands of studying while we still meet the demands of our everyday lives with our families and with work. So I hope this is helpful, and if you have questions, please give me a call. I'm happy to go over things with you.